Hello. I'm Stephanie Markuski, Authentic Growth Coaching, and I am here today with Diana Tanner of Healthy Humaning Institute. She's a personal friend, but also somebody I really, really respect. I've watched her communication focused coaching for a couple of years now. And when she rebranded as Healthy Humaning Institute, I got really excited because I know that that is the crux of everything. And so I wanted to interview her about her brace method. So Diana, why don't you tell us what that is instead?
Okay, so the brace method is like, well, like you said, the crux of it all. If you had to okay, so humans are really complex and really, diverse, and there's all this stuff. So there's not really a way to write a one-size-fits-all guidebook for how to be a healthy human and how to communicate and how to set boundaries and all this stuff. And I think what the brace method does is create a really good foundation that's about as close as you can get to universal without, taking into account everyone's nuance all the time, which you need to do on a case-by-case basis, obviously. But what it is it's so in construction, if a foundation isn't structurally sound, they do something called an underpinning. So they take extra materials or supports or beams or whatever, and they strengthen the foundation. And so you do that with autonomy. You strengthen your foundation. You do that with communication. You strengthen your foundation, and you put all these little braces in that kind of help shore up your foundation, because your lived experience up to this point is your foundation for your life. And there's no going back. There's no undoing it. You can't go back, make it better. It is what it is, and that's what you have. But you take these components of the underpinning of brace method, which is boundaries, personal responsibility, autonomy, communication, and emotional intelligence, and you use that to shore up your foundation so that you can build a framework and your foundation will support the life that you want to lead. And so then the actual framework piece for implementing those things and figuring out where you need to put boundaries in your life, figuring out where your communication is lacking, and maybe it is you that's the drama and you have to clean up on your side of the street a little bit, is to use the BRACE acronym again. Using it twice makes it really easy to remember, except if you can't remember, that's okay. I have a whole printout, which I'm actually using myself because I wrote this and I still forget what I wrote in there to make it make sense. So that's okay too. But you break down the struggle to identify the brace components that are involved. You reconcile your old behaviors, your conditioning, the beliefs that you have, what your current lived experience has taught you, with the result that you want, so that you can figure out how to shift, how to change, where to kind of make some changes that will get you from where you are to where you want to go. And then you apply the tools, skills, and knowledge necessary to meet your end goal, which is part of the nuance. What tools do you have? What tools do you need? What knowledge do you have that you think is right, but it turns out it's actually really harmful? Those are kinds of things that you have to explore on your own. That's your own nuance. That's your own personal experience that goes into it. You clarify your needs, wants, and values to set priorities, because the boundaries, the personal responsibility, all that stuff, those are skills, but those are also values. And so you can't move forward until you know how you value those things in your life according to what is authentic to you. But you also have to be able to practice them as skills. Boundaries is a skill. Communication has a whole subset of skills to it. And then from that point, you engage in the behaviors and conversations that you need to have with the people around you, or just the behaviors for yourself, in order to co-create the change that you want. So if you are working at setting boundaries, that's something you can do, whether or not the people around you get on board and want to, do some growing too. But communication requires the cooperation of other people. So that's a co-creation of change.
I love that. I love that. That's so true. And so we're speaking in October. Hopefully people are able to watch it now, but if you're watching this much later, October is ADHD Awareness Month, and that's why we're talking now, and why I want Diana to bring this up now, because it's so important for us to feel comfortable in our communication. Diana, from your personal perspective as a neurodivergent person, you know, like, how is this important to you?
So part of the reason that I love the brace method, and not just because it's mine, but you know, the autistic side of me is like, yes, a set of rules to follow. I have an actual step-by-step way of going through and making sure that I am doing everything that I can to make sure that things are healthy. And I have a way of knowing when I need to hold people accountable for their stuff, when I can safely say that, yes, I have done everything in my power, and this is just not a connection that's good for me, that I can reference when, you know, sometimes emotions run high and we get all dysregulated. My emotionals are out of order. This is how I'm going to say I'm dysregulated from now on. My emotionals are out of order.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
The ADHD brain wins again. See, I trip over my own words just because that's what happens. But it gives me something to come back to that's concrete when I am dysregulated, when I'm out of focus, when I am, and it works for both, for me anyway, the autism and the ADHD, to be like, okay, where am I in alignment with what I want, and where am I out of alignment and with what I want? Where do I need to have conversations with other people? Where is it reasonable or unreasonable for me to try and hold someone accountable? And a lot of my conditioning is the stereotypical people pleaser, self-sacrificing everything until you're so burnt out and you're just a shell of your former self. And this is like the permission that I needed to step back and live my life, and also be able to say, okay, well, you know, I let you know that you hurt me and you're having a very unfortunate reaction to it. It's not my responsibility to fix it. That this sheet right here says that I don't have to take responsibility for that. And like, it's also telling me that I have the autonomy to choose whether or not to support you through those emotions or not, based on where I'm at. And so like, I'm really dysregulated right now. I don't think I'm going to do you any favors, and I don't think this is going to do me any favors. So I'm going to step back. I'm going to let you feel your feelings, and we'll regroup later, because there's that communication piece. And I say that the brace components are like a braid. You need a little bit of boundaries. You need a little bit of communication. You need a little bit of autonomy. And so you have to like keep going through, and every situation is different. So you're just picking up and picking up and picking up. And at the end, you've just got this lifelong braid that I don't know, it's a souvenir or something. I'm not really sure what it is.
Well, okay. So it probably is, because people watching you take from it a little bit too. I mean, a souvenir, they remember you because of the way you lived your life.
Exactly.
And I like that. You know, at one point you were talking about, yes, I'm not responsible for your feelings about this, but ultimately, yes, this tells you where your responsibility is and where your responsibility stops, and it becomes somebody else's responsibility. In case anybody wandered there for a second and heard, well, it's not my responsibility. I just wanted to remind you and say, yes, you have your responsibility, and somebody else has their responsibility.
And that's the other thing too, is because I can use this to have a conversation with someone else, and I can use this because, especially when tensions are running high, emotions are running high. Like, I think about how I got started with this. All of this came from my marriage being on the brink and my marriage like suffering. Like, I have my background in leadership education. That didn't prepare me for my lived experience of trying to live with another human who had no concept of what it meant to be a healthy human. His lived experience was so different from mine. And I thought, this man has no trauma. This man has none of this, none of this. This is going to be so easy. Like, I finally get an easy relation. Turns out when someone has no knowledge, it's just as bad as when they have traumatized knowledge.
Wait, a blank slate is worse or is as bad as a painted over space?
I know. I had no idea. I was so young and naive. It was cute. But anyway, so I have this thing that I can take to other humans and be like, I don't know what on here you know, and I don't know what on here that you don't know. So like, I am using my autonomy and deciding that I want to invest my energy in here. So here's what you can do to participate in that. Look this over, see where you might be having issues, see where you might need some help and support, see where you're like, oh, I didn't know I was allowed to set that boundary. I didn't know I was allowed to say no there. Like, I thought because we were married, I had to do this. No. You don't. That's where the conditioning comes in. That's where, you know, whatever your caregivers taught you or didn't teach you comes in. You have to evaluate it and be like, okay, where did this come from? Why do I feel this way? What do I actually feel? What do I actually believe about this? And it's really helpful. It's really helpful when like my ADHD side is running the show and is like all over the board. It's easy for my husband to be like, okay, come back here. Come back here. We have a focal point. We have a focal point. Let's use this focal point and let's stay here. Exactly.
I love that. But and what I love about this method, it's deep, but it's not complex. And the hope is it can be taught to anyone, right? And we haven't really mentioned it, but yes, there's the ADHD and the autistic side of things, but there's an issue sometimes when we talk to someone who isn't neurodivergent, who is neurotypical. And I like this.
Yeah, this helps everybody. And that's kind of what I love about it, is it has the potential for universal application if you decide to. Like, you have to choose that you want to participate in this in order for it to work for you and for the humans that you are connected to. And if you choose not to, you're still using it because you're using your autonomy to say, no, I don't want to participate in this. So I've got you either way.
Damn it. I am taking part in something I don't believe in.
Exactly. No, but it's great to illustrate to people who don't understand the nuance of it, and to be able to say, okay, I know that you think you are communicating clearly because this is what you've always experienced. And so like, I use this example is actually with another neurodivergent human, but it was an example of the neurotypical speak that we've adapted, the way that we've learned to communicate from the neurotypical people who were in charge of us, basically. But they had texted me, we were coordinating a ride, and they had texted me and they were like, cool, I have to do this other errand, which is why I'm leaving the house early, because they had informed me that they were leaving the house early. And I was like, okay, no problem. I interpreted it as they were letting me know that they left the house early, but not that they were coming to me early. So I still had exactly as much time as I thought I did to get ready. They were communicating, hey, so I have to run this errand, but it's after I pick you up. So I've left the house early to come get you early. But there was no clarity there. There was no hey, this is what this means. And because this is someone who is familiar with the brace method and the work that I do, I was able to say, hey, just as a point of clarification, I thought you were telling me you were leaving early. Don't worry about it. So we had a miscommunication going forward. And because they are also just as familiar with this work, there was no hard feelings. There was no hurt feelings. It was an opportunity to say, hey, I just want to share this information with you so that you can know for next time that maybe some more clarity might be needed.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Excellent. There's no, you should have known, because that's so hurtful. That's so harmful. I shouldn't have. We hear that all the time, that you should have. Bullshit. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel.
But how many of us, I mean, you've already talked about your marriage, and I won't talk badly about mine, but like, how many of us, we've lived with this person a long time, and sometimes we think we know them better than they know themselves, and we just barrel right over thinking this is what they're going to think. So yeah.
I had that kind of pointed out in one of the last podcast interviews that I did with someone. We were talking about, part of the reason this communication matters, the tools and skills that I personally teach to go along with this matters, is because, oh, sorry, I thought I turned my alarm. I've been married for 12 years now. And so like, it's really easy to think, like you said, that I know my husband well enough, and I know what he's thinking, and I know what he's feeling based on whatever actions or words or choices that he's making. And I really don't. I don't know anything until someone has told me and given me that information. But because we focus so much in on making sure that we have healthy and open and correct, I hate to say correct, but also correct. There kind of is a right way and a wrong way to communicate. And so it's the difference between telling my husband, why are you so angry right now? Like, I don't understand why you're so angry. I don't understand what happened. And being able to say, hey, you seem really angry right now. I'm not trying to say you. I use this with my youngest, who has PDA all the time. And it works with me and my PDA too. Because the minute you try to tell me what you think I'm feeling and it's wrong, we're going to fight. But saying, choosing your words, because your words matter, saying you are saying, this is my perception. This is what I am seeing. This is my experience of whatever emotion you are having. And that leaves room for the other person to say, no, so it's actually this. Or even to say, I don't want to talk about it. Yes, you are accurate in that I am feeling something, but I don't want to share what this something is. I am choosing not to share this something with you.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And of course, now I feel called out because it's PDA with you and it's ODD in my family. And I'm realizing that, yeah, I do that a lot with my oldest, and I need to chill.
Okay. But now you have, this is what I love. I'm actually really glad that happened. So like, thank you for sharing that. And it's what I really love is because the brace method doesn't focus so much on right and wrong as it does on information. Mm-hmm. So yes, now you have more information that you can use to make different decisions going forward. There's no right or wrong on whether or not, someone chooses to share information about how they're feeling. But by bringing it up, you're gaining information. Mm-hmm. By, if someone struggles with talking about how they're feeling, if their lived experiences, it's not safe to talk about how they're feeling, you saying, hey, it seems like, is opening the door for them to test the waters and be like, maybe it's okay for me to share how I'm feeling right now. It's giving them information that they can see, okay, if I try to share feelings right now and it doesn't go the way I think I will, am I still going to be okay? Like, where's my emotional intelligence level at today? Like, how much do I think I can handle? And I've really struggled with the idea of making such a declarative sentence, but it really feels like there is no such thing as bad information. Yes, it can suck to go through whatever situation that got you that information. It can suck to have those experiences, but that information is something that you can use and going forward.
Yep. That is true. And honestly, if you are barreling towards a cliff, but you didn't know, and suddenly you're getting this new information and it sucks, but at least you weren't actually going to go over the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I go too much into metaphors sometimes, but you know what?
No, no, but it's actually perfect because using the brace method, you still have the autonomy to decide to go off the cliff if you want. You just have more information. You are making an informed decision. If you didn't have this information and you were going to go off the cliff anyway, at least now you're making a choice based on as much information as you can have in that situation about how you want to go forward. Maybe you do still want to go off the cliff and say, fuck this, and walk away. And maybe you're like, okay, hold on. Let me pull on the e-brake and think about it for a minute on whether or not I still want to go off the cliff. Or maybe you're like, oh no, let me just do a detour and go around. Like, now you have the information, even if it sucked finding it out, even if it hurt, even if, you know, betrayal, all of these things, the experiences of them are bad, but that's more information you have now that you didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly I feel strongly on that.
I agree with you on that. I'm thinking of too many people right now. You know, I like that whole going over the cliff thing. I'm thinking of way too many people right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but thank you. I really, really love this brace method. And again, I would love to get it out to as many people as possible. Did you tell me that you have something coming up more about this?
So
soon?
I don't, not yes and no, because everything goes back to brace. So yes and no. What I'm doing is I'm actually working on creating a learning library, a low-cost, accessible learning library where I can just post stuff and people can come find the information, what they need. And I got 2 videos that I'm working on that I don't have a timeline because I'm learning a whole lot of new skills in this. And I am not enjoying the process at all. Like, not even a little bit. But one of them is going to be like Healthy Humaning 101. And it is an expansion on the brace method and like how to go through the whole process using it to like figure out areas of your life where you're like, maybe I would like some things to change. Maybe I would like my lived experience to be different. And the other one that I'm working on, this is going to be a teaser, and I'm giving you that information as part of, you know, communicating that it is just a teaser. But there's a topic that needs to be talked about, that is being talked about, but it doesn't have a name. And I found a way to put a name to it, which I think will help people navigate it better. And so that's going to be my other debut video that I'm learning new skills for, resentfully, but it's fine. And see, that's the thing. I see the ADHD hyperfocus has kicked in. Healthy humaning and the brace method and all of the things that go with it is what makes it okay to say things like, I resent doing this process. And it's okay for me to say that out loud. Like, you don't have to take it personally. I'm being honest about my experience of things. And also, that doesn't mean people need to feel bad about asking me for, hey, can you create this resource? Hey, can you do this thing? Because I'm allowed to be honest about what I feel and what I experience. And so are you. And you're allowed to, not only are you allowed to ask for what you want, it is your responsibility to ask for what you want. And it's okay if you're not there yet. It's okay if that feels like too much or too scary. That's one of, I know I've said It's not an ADHD thing. Can't be, because I've said the best part like 6 times about 6 different things. But seriously, one of the best things about the brace method is it meets you where you are now. You don't have to get to a certain point to use it. You don't have to earn the right to use it. You don't have to earn the ability to use it. You can start where you are right now in this moment just by going forward with more information.
I love that. No certifications required.
No, absolutely not. And that's, you know, you mentioned the rebranding that I did. And that's part of why is that I realized that, yes, I love doing this work. And also the only qualification that I actually had for people, even though I love working with humans who are queer and polyamorous, which is what I was doing before, for those who don't know, is you just have to be willing to want to do it. Like, that's the only requirement, is you have to want to do it. Anything beyond that, we can figure out.
Mm. Well, and of course, we've said the word, both of us, several times, but it's about living authentically. Yes, that's one of my favorite words, but it is so important to me. For people with ADHD, especially moms, especially adults, you know, we've lived behind masks and we're tired of it because it's freaking exhausting. And any tool we can put in our toolbox that allows us to be ourselves more is better for us at work. It's better for us in our marriage, or relationship, whatever. It's better for us in our family. It's better for us in our head.
You can't go wrong with healthy humaning.
Yes.
It might give you information that you don't want, or that you were afraid that you would find out. But again, you can use your autonomy to say, no, I don't want to go through this. I'm not ready for this. And that's okay. That's an example of healthy humaning meeting you where you're at. It's okay if you're not ready yet. And that's still going to be there for you when you are ready. And it works great on kids too. I actually got a request to do a whole parenting version as well.
Cool. You're going to have to let me know so that I can be sure to work with my kids on that.
I love it. It's made life a lot easier. The remembering to use it when the dysregulation hits is a little bit, you know, tricky, like you might imagine if you're neurodivergent, but
yeah. Yep. Well, thank you so very much. Again, do you want to recap what brace is?
Okay, so the underpinning components are boundaries, personal responsibility, autonomy, communication, emotional intelligence. Brace all on its own. The framework component is also brace. Break down the struggle to identify the brace components involved. Reconcile your old behaviors and beliefs with the end result that you want. Apply the tools, skills, knowledge necessary to meet your end goal. Clarify your needs, wants, and values in order to set priorities. And engage in the behaviors and conversations needed to co-create change. Awesome. And I'm pretty sure I'll be able to supply a link that has a download for this, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that we do that, but thank you. Thank you so very much for doing this work, because it's not crap we learn in school.
Hey, it even says that.
Yeah. I didn't see that actually. I do have it right in front of me just in case, but I didn't see it because anyways, but yeah, we don't learn it in school. There's no handbook. I bet even when people actually do go to some kind of thing before they get married, which we didn't, you know, it's still not really talked about. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you for allowing me to info dump on my favorite topic ever. Seriously. I love it.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for everybody who watched. Please feel free to leave comments below, and Diana and I will do our best to get back to you, or to communicate back with you. But thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.